The special consideration we're going to have for this week, because it is a horror theme, is we're going to supplement the characters, not just with the normal things here with Curse of Strahd, but, or I'm sorry, with, with normal creation. We're going to go into the Curse of Strahd module, and we can make the custom background in here available, a haunted one. Now, do we want to give haunted one characteristics to all of the characters? Probably not. I mean, how many people can be, like, morose, grim, in a party? I guess everyone could be. Though, what I will do is I will make, for the backgrounds, I will make a 14-sided, right? So I'll do 14, and if it's 14, we'll use the haunted one background. If by the time we get to the last character, we have not randomly generated a haunted one, then we will insert haunted one onto the last character for a little bit of spice, a little bit of flavor. Though, hey, if we roll two 14s naturally, that's what happens. We're also going to be giving them some kind of a gothic trinket as a way to add a little extra oomph to the characters. But we're not going to worry about that just yet. Let's go up to Chapter 4, because we're going to end up needing that first. Though not just yet. There we go. I don't think he's in chat yet. He might be he might be finishing up his shift or whatnot. I think he was saying he was doing a lot of inventory right now. I got you two hooked on Heart of Crown. Oh, well, I'm glad. Heart of Crown is a lot of fun, and if you didn't get my recommendation, Ivalon, you might also like a game called Tanto Cuore, Tantocuore, which is Italian for much heart. That one's a little bit more risque, though it's not. I mean, you could play it in a public area, like especially a game store. I ran it in the library too. There's just a little bit more to the art to bring it up to like PG-13 from the PG Game of Thrones that Heart of Crown is. Yes, Ivalon, that is absolutely correct. And Dark Wolf, oh, you baked her a cake made with love. Yeah, if you like the whole maid thing, Tanto Cuore is it's kind of like a card game version of Maid RPG, though maybe without the Demon Kings and everything. But you are a master who has maids who serve him, and it's still a deck building game. It's in that theme. It just might be just a skosh more lewd and funny too. There's a lot of humor in that game. I'm trying to convince her that having a dungeon full of monsters was a good thing. Oh, for the holy woman who rolled in. Mostly as long as they're in there, they aren't causing trouble. Oh, Derek's letting you play a native Barovian in the Curse of Strahd game you're going through. That's cool. Yeah, Ivalon, look into it. It's called Tanto Cuore, and there's like 3 or 4 expansions. It also comes in a big box. I can even show you that on break, because I have the big box. It is a big box. Here, can I even, there we go, something like that. Alright. So, you know the gist. We did our homework, we did our channel update stuff, we've done our housekeeping, speaking of maids. We've been very good maids, and we have upkept our house. We're in a brand new week, fresh, full of energy, and we're ready to go. Even though it's creepy, hey, we got to get through it together, right? We'll be stronger on the other end of this. I understand, Ivalon. I do. Alright, let's determine, do we have a male or a female character? That is determined through a percentile. Pardon me, 1 to 45 is female. 46 to 90, pardon me. I'm sorry, it's not because I'm tired, it's, I've been away from narrating and speaking a bunch, and so this is my body reminding me to breathe. 46 to 90 is male, and 91 to 100 is a multi-class character, and we'll roll again for the gender. 85, we are starting things off with a male character. Now let's roll a d10 and determine which race. 5. Hey, we're starting with a Dragonborn. We get to use a nice little we get to use a nice little subchart over here, right? Dragonborn scale color determination. Which kind of Dragonborn? Let's roll a d6 and find out. 3. Okay, so blue, blue or bronze, and both of those breathe lightning. So we'll do odds and evens. Okay, we'll roll another d6. Odds is chromatic, evens is metallic. Odds. Okay, we have a blue Dragonborn. Very cool. Okay. What is his alignment? Let's roll 2 percentiles and find out where on the axes it lays. 80 and 59. We are 1 point shy of evil. Evil? He's bordering evil. And 59, he's a neutral kind of guy. We'll just pretend he has he entertains evil tendencies. So you can just put neutral, or if, a lot of people will say true neutral or TN if you are neutral. Chromatic dragons are stereotypically evil. Yeah, and you know what? In our games, they can be. I think they even say in the fluff, in like the generic fluff in the PHB that, you know, it doesn't always have to be the case because the draconic heritage is sort of washed out. That you can have a good. Although that is definitely its whole own conversation, is, you know, nature versus nurture. Can things be inherently evil? If you're born as a blue dragonborn, do you have to work harder to be good? Or what if you're taken in by good parents and you didn't know an evil lifestyle? Would you still naturally tend towards that? And by the way, those are awesome campaign themes. Nature versus nurture. Things like that. You know, what is a monster really? Hopefully you can get your friend over for a session before Curse of Strahd. Hopefully so. And then if you bring her again, I hope that she had fun in the last time that she played. It was nice. It was nice to entertain a new character. Hey, Das. Welcome. You're getting in on the ground floor here. We've only generated a few little tidbits of our character so far. We have a male blue dragonborn, and he is going to be of level percentile. Let's see. We rolled a 14. We have a level 5 character. Drop that in. A monster is you. Let's determine now with a percentile roll of the 1 stat bump he'll get at 4. Is it going to be a stat bump, an ASI, or an ability score improvement? Or is he going to take a feat? We're going to take a stat bump. There we go. Nice and easy. Now we get to the background, and here's our chance to possibly roll that 14. Right? There's 13 normal ones, but we're opening up the haunted one background from Curse of Strahd. So instead of the normal 13 that you see here-ish, bink, 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 we get to go, da-na-na-na, there's a 14. Let's check it out, see what we get. 8. A noble? Ooh, a noble or a knight. And we will determine which, we can determine which after we've put in a little bit more defining characteristics into our character. For right now, hey, it's a placeholder, it's a consideration, it's a milestone in the creation, and we'll use it to measure progress elsewhere. There's no special origin, it's just, which one do you want? Though we do get to roll 2d8 for personality traits and then 3d6 for the other parts of the background. Let's change this to a 2d8 and hit it. 5 and 1. Three d6. 1, 6, and 6. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot to mention too. We're gonna do something. We're gonna take one extra step in the DMG. We are going to give them some kind of a madness. And we can roleplay through it as this is something, it's not like a character flaw, right? A character flaw happens even in casual conversation. It's, you know, if we were talking about anime and maids and whatnot over here a little earlier, you have the moe blob who's just adorably cute and just very like saccharine and whatever. You then have like the clumsy one, or you have like the sporty one, or, you know, you have the brain with the swirly glasses and whatnot. There are character flaws in that sense. What the madness is going to represent is something that is a deeper issue of the character, and perhaps only comes out in stressful times. And it could be something that is self-destructive or is destructive of what's around them, things along those lines. And we're going to we're going to put that in as an interesting little. We're dangling a cat toy before Macabre Derek. Hey, Bubonic, what have we got? So I took a bit of what you were saying in terms of bonding the characters through a theme, Bubonic. And I also, I pineapple penned that, because I know you were wanting to go in a nature theme. And by the way, this week we've predetermined we're going to be in Ukt, which is the very naturey, in the very naturey jungle area of Mesotopia. Though after Saturday, I took into consideration that while I can present a multitude of campaign styles, there are some of you out there that have that really specialize in certain ways of presenting campaigns. And I talked with Macabre Derek, and I asked him if he could do a pineapple pen. If I gave him some information, can he follow along throughout the course of the week and present a haunted dungeon or a horror dungeon, and then how can we make a horror-themed campaign set in Mesotopia? And so he volunteered to do that. You like that area second most after the plains? Well, hey, we're visiting there, and we're going to take aspects of the nature thing that you're talking about, or a way to bond the characters, because it won't necessarily be nature. We're going to do it through horror, but because horror is Macabre's is one of his specialties, you know, it might be his strongest point. I know he's capable of a lot of other things, but we'll go from there. And if this is something that you all really enjoy, is to get, you know, guest DMs, making content and presenting different ways of running things, then I am very much happy to share the soapbox with you all. Whether you're an old-timer or whether you are a newcomer. Ivalon, I know that I called your style orthodox, and I meant no offense by that, too. You read a lot of the books, you read a lot of the rules, and, you know, to measure things out the way you have and such. That was my interpretation of it. Though, Ivalon, you know, if the time comes and it's something that you are willing and able to present to others, we can do a week session where you're lurking as we're generating some characters to run through a fun house of your own design. And, you know, Bubonic, or heck, even Dark Wolf, if you want the challenge as a new DM, right, to follow along and come up with a concept from... You see, you and the others who are new to D&D here, you are in a very unique position, because you're coming into this hobby with fresh eyes, fresh thoughts, fresh expectations of the game. And I'm not saying that old-time player... I'm not the oldest-time player, but, you know, for long-time players, we may find ourselves in a box a lot, and you might be able to help break us out of that if that's something that you wanted to step up and do as well. Moose Crenshaw says, so, Mulaney, I'll give you my grandpa a call in this week and ask... Oh, hey! Yeah, and by the way, if you are new in here, perhaps through the alignment of planets, two of our fellow nerds here at our table might have family that have been hunting moose in Canada together. Yvonne, it's just a funny term because... Oh, gotcha. No. I have no idea of that, and hopefully I didn't cause offense. because you know, Orthodox is, you find that in other religions, but it really just means like a very by the book, whether it's the book or a book, but you know, very methodical. So yes. Yeah, Bubonic, you may very well be, and I say that as a you are a seasoned player. The book. Hey, Caden, it's good to see you. We're making spoopy characters this week. All right, so we have our placeholder numbers, right? We're filling in. We're making a silhouette. We will paint inside, and we'll think outside the very same shape too. What is our character? Well, let's determine. There's not a new class in Curse of Strahd, so we're still going to stick with our nice golden button right here. This nice big fat D12, which, you know, doesn't really see a lot of play. That's a shame. These things put in work. An 11. That is... Oh, we have a Warlock. A Noble Knight Warlock. Alright, now Warlocks, by the way, they get one of their... they get 1d3, or, I mean, they'll get one of 3 patrons, and each of the patrons then offer a type of pact. So we're going to roll a d3 twice. 3-sided die. We're going to roll it twice. See how we did it? Nice and easy. And boom. 1 and 1. Well, nice and easy, right? I guess we're being lazy. The Archfey and the Pact of the Blade. Feyblade. Kind of like Beyblade, right? How did Yep. Hey, thank you, Pure Skills. And by the way, it is nice to meet you and see you here. For all of you, if you weren't in the bonus stream of Diablo 3 last night, Pure Skills popped in and said hi. And while Pure is not a D&D player yet, wink. While Pure is not a D&D player, thank you for coming back and seeing. You know, kind of playing in our playground, right? Since you're comfortable with Diablo and such, and I hope the advice you got in the channel last night from others was really helpful to you. But welcome to our playground, and hopefully you see something that you like here. I mean, going off of Diablo, this is a good week to get involved because we're making a horror-themed campaign. So we're going to be generating some characters and content that will give a very spooky vibe. But hey, Ivlon, look, you trust yourself to the flow of the universe. You open yourself up to the ether of character creation, and this is what happens. Let's see. What else do we have? Oh, hey, Romonger. Everyone, we have every reason to be jealous of Romonger, who, despite working very long hours in a hazmat suit in a dangerous part of Japan right now, is in Japan, which is in full cherry blossom status, and he also gets to have authentic miso soup for breakfast and other things. So we love you, brother, but you know what? With Romonger, that's just one of those names that. You know, he's just like, Romonger! Universe juice. No, please don't make me jealous, Romonger. Oh, do you have a lot of cherry trees around New York right now, Bubonic? I know there's a lot in D.C., and where I went for my undergrad at Ohio University, they have a sister college in Japan. And all along the Hawking River, they planted a bunch of cherry trees, too. Oh, gotcha. Gotcha. All right, so we have a Fey Patron Blade Lock. Or, you know, we'll say Fey Blade instead of Beyblade here. Yep, you certainly can, Pure. If you wanted to run a pre-written module, you can. Though, all you really need to run D&D, and that's something that I really want to encourage here, bink. Just use your brain and your imagination. That's all you need. Look, I have a PDF. I have, well, this was sent to me in Excel format. You can use OpenOffice if you want something freebie, and we use MS Paint. You don't need any advanced tools. Really, if you have the player's handbook, you're mostly good. He's only mostly dead. Oh, and Michigan has a lot too. Wow. Well then, maybe I should plant a cherry tree near my house or something. Alright. Let's continue making the outer formation of our character. We're going to give him some physical stats. Here's Dragonborn, right here. We're going to start at 5 foot 6 inches, and we're going to add 2d8 inches. We're already on 2. Let's roll it. We're going to add 7 inches. And so we have a 5 foot 13 inch Dragonborn. Right? That's what I said. We're going to take this same 7 that we rolled, and we're going to multiply it by 2d6 pounds. 6. All right. And then we're going to take that number and add it to 175 for our dry weight, right? He gets up in the morning, like, you know, he's scratching his side, he's looking in the mirror, he just has on his jammy pants or something, and this is how much he weighs. This isn't armor, this isn't weapons, this isn't gear or loot or anything along those lines. 42's 212. There we go. Yeah, you don't even really need to draw maps, and if you do, there's a slew of more professional tools, but if you have MS Paint, you can get away with it. Oh, by the way, yes, this is a blue Dragonborn bubonic one. Yeah, the 3 books I have are heavy. I could use them as weights. It is a blue. Blue, blue, blue. Blue, blue, blue Dragonborn. Let's roll a percentile and find out how old he is. Now, pure skills, the way that I do character creation here is not necessarily how you would go about creating a character at home. Whoop, I create young adult. This has been modified in a way that allows us to tell us a story for a character that we're sort of projecting us playing. So we're making him a 3D character. If you're piloting a character at in an at-home environment, you probably already know that, yeah, I want to play a dwarven sorcerer who used to be a sailor. All right, so there's your race, class, and background. That was super easy. In this case, we're throwing everything at the wall. We're seeing what sticks, and we're going to draw little constellations in the shapes of characters. We're going to breathe life into them with who they are, what they've seen, where they've been, that kind of a thing. Yes, blue or lightning. Orpheus 001, thank you very much for the follow, and welcome along the journey. We're starting a new broadcast week, a new campaign. It is going to be horror themed, and we're starting off with a blue Dragonborn Warlock. So it's already kind of spoopy. Alright, here is our Dragonborn line. Young adult is in column 2. Find out where they intersect. Boom. He's between 16 and 25 years old. That's going to be a D10. Roll it. 1. Alright. Ooh, he's a youngin' here. Look. 16. He is a noble or a knight for the background. We can choose either one, and we'll see his personality, and we'll tell a story. You all can throw out ideas too. This is not my character. This is our character that we're building together. If you have questions along the way, like what's a Dragonborn, or what is Warlock, or what does Feyblade mean, please ask, because myself or others over here are going to be able to answer that for you. And this is as much an introduction, a D&D 101, as it is for us longbeards who've been telling stories and playing D&D for a while to challenge ourselves to think about characters on the fly and generate storyline, that kind of a thing. You learned the poker hands from Yahtzee? Oh. It is male bubonic. We have a male blue Dragonborn. Avocado confirmed. I just saw their meeting on the screen. Oh, right, yeah. In fact, that image might even be able to be altered to have the avocado symbol in the middle. Huh. Okay, my D&D and future people, have a good night, and I'll pop in, say hi tomorrow. Thank you for stopping by when you could, Romonger. It means a lot. I know that you're busy and doing important stuff, man. But you're always welcome here, even if it's just for a minute. Hey, Derek is here. Caden says, that dude is 6'3" and 200 plus pounds. That kid is going to move what he wants. Derek, yeah, you just missed him. He popped in to say hi, though. As far as we know, he hasn't developed any mutant powers yet, which would be cool if he comes back with. Is Dragonborn the same type of deal as Skyrim? No, not necessarily. Caden's taking care of you in that Pure Skills. Yep. And Derek, we have a male blue Dragonborn Warlock, Fey Patron, Pact of the Blade as our first character. So, and he's either going to be a noble or a knight, and he is of true neutral alignment. So if this is getting your gears turning in which little needles to poke into the voodoo doll, then there we go. He's 16 years old too, by the way. And yes, the Fae can still very much be a part of a very 5 spoopy 3-me campaign. Okay, we've randomly generated numbers. What do they mean? Like, we have placeholders. What does a noble 51166 mean? Let's find out. By the way, Derek, something that we're going to be doing, you can see here. We are going to be giving each of the characters one of the Gothic trinkets as a fun little inheritance or something. And I will be giving them some kind of a madness that I figured under normal circumstances it's suppressed, right? This is a phobia, this is something deep down. But maybe as a stress point, we can give them something that would occur that they would, as a role player, as the pilot of the character, they would have to fight against, even if it's in the middle of a fight or not. But something like suppressed deep down that maybe, you know, comes to the surface as it continues to be scratched and scratched and scratched. I also opened up, if we roll a 14 for the background, instead, because normally there's 13, I'm rolling on a 14-sided die, quote unquote. If it's 14, they're going to get the Haunted One background from Curse of Strahd. If we go through 4 characters and none of them have naturally rolled the 14, we will give the Haunted One background to character number 5. Do you find this acceptable for what you're planning? You gotta traumatize them when they're young. Yeah, you have to say, is add flavor by having the character you're making have to electrocute its food before it eats? That very well may be. Look, there's a whole custom, a whole taste and palate. You know, it could be if it's not twitching, I'm not eating it. Which, by the way, if you all want to see something kind of cool / creepy, you can look up videos online. That if you go to a sushi place, you know, it's because sushi is it's raw fish, and it's also very delicious and wonderful. Well, you can get squid and such. Well, if it's super fresh and you pour soy sauce on squid and octopus, the salt in the soy sauce causes the muscles in the tentacles to twitch even after death because it's a chemical reaction, and you can make your sushi twitch on your plate. That's how Black Dragonborn do it. Kind of like a fly, dissolve it first. Oh. Ivalon. Yum yum, slurp them up. So anyway, if you're fine with how I'm setting this up for the week, Derek, we'll continue forward here, and we'll find out what does it mean to be a noble. We're gonna start here because look, before you're an adventurer, before you are a warlock, you're born into something. You do something for a job. That's more mundane. So these are all listed alphabetically. Let's go down: guild, hermit, outlander, LMNO. There we go. No, noble. This is going to give us skill proficiencies in history and persuasion. Since by our birth, we are going to be brought up in an environment where we are going to learn our histories, our banners of our fellow nobles, you know, the histories of the lands that perhaps we rule over, that kind of a thing, or will inherit. And persuasion, because look, if you're a noble, you want to be able to work in the court. You want to be able to, not like legal, but, well, you get what I'm saying, like the king's court kind of a thing. Persuasion to persuade people to give speeches, that kind of a thing. Now, we're also going to get tool proficiency of some kind of gaming set. Derek, since these characters are going to fall somewhat under your purview, if you wish to keep these random, or if you just want us to fill it in with whatever, that's fine. Or if you want to give someone a particular instrument, a gaming set, or something along those lines, a set of artisan tools, let me know, okay? First blush goes to you. So right now, they get a gaming set of some kind, and we put question marks to indicate we'll come back to it. But they get it. Languages, one of our choice. We're Dragonborn, so we get Common, Draconic, and question mark, and Prophet. There we go. So we can fill that in as well. It might end up being Gnome, because gnomes are a popular race in the setting for this week. We are going to be getting, down here in our inventory, fine clothes. We will be very well clothed. A signet ring. A scroll of pedigree, showing that, yes, we are in fact born of Sir so-and-so and Ma'am so-and-so and so on and so forth. And a purse containing 25 gold pieces. Kill a cow and make a milkshake. I would like to say the gaming set should be a dragon chest set, something fitting the noble title. Okay. We have a nice choice. Dragon chest. A scroll of kibble. Alright, we get a background feature. Now, this can be one of two things for either a noble or a knight. At least as I rule as a DM. The variant feature of retainers indicates that a noble can take retainers instead of a position of privilege. And if you take a knight, you just get retainers, but you, instead of valets and butlers and maids following you around, you have a squire, which is a semi-combatant NPC, and maybe a horse groom and, I don't know, someone else. To keep it PG-13, I'll just say, it's good to be the king. Right? You flip them, you give them the tip. It's good to be the king. So maybe you have people like that. We can, but as a knight, if you are really, you know, if you're a powerful knight, or, you know, you're someone, maybe you're more of a solo combatant, I don't see why you couldn't have a position of privilege where you wouldn't be welcomed into banquet halls and feasts and at parties and to speak. So we can take either position of privilege or retainers as we're going to choose. All right. If we do take position of privilege, thanks to your noble birth, people are inclined to think the best of you. You are welcome in high society, and people assume you have the right to be wherever you are. The common folk make every effort to accommodate you and avoid your displeasure, and other people of high birth treat you as a member of the same social sphere. You can secure an audience with a local noble if you need to. See, nothing in there really doesn't say if you're a knight of renown, you could have that instead of a squire following you around. Oh yeah, the dog food brand. Yeah, that's that face. It's not count the money. It's de Monet. Hey, Baroque is when you're out of Monet. Yeah, but plunder loot gets it. All right, so we're going to consider which one of these backgrounds we want to give them as we develop them further. Personality traits. I completely agree, Plunder Loot. I don't like to get my hands dirty, And I won't be caught dead in unsuitable accommodations. The less you move your lips, the more noble you sound. Probably not to crack all of the caked on makeup and everything on your cheeks, right? You get pancake mix on your face, and you get nice rosy cheeks. Even as a blue dragonborn? A very foppish wig. 1. My eloquent flattery makes everyone I talk to feel like the most wonderful and important person in Zawarudo. There we go. May the swords be with you. So I've used that line a couple times in my D&D game. It's merchandising. Yeah. Good old Spaceballs and Robin Hood Men in Tights and Blazing Saddles. Young Frankenstein. Ideals 1. Respect. R-E-S-P-E-C-T. Respect is due to me because of my position, but all people, regardless of station, deserve to be treated with dignity. While this is a good themed ideal, that doesn't mean that a true neutral person by generic alignment standards can't hold this. Again, these are they're not even lines in the sand. They're points in the sand that are forming a playground or a sandbox in which we'll play with this character. Mongo like candy. Yeah. Candygram for Mongo. Bonds 6. The common folk must see me as a hero of the people. So he will go out of his way to try and do heroic things to earn that respect. He seems to be he's a fronting person, right? He wants to be out in front. He wants to be the, hey, look at me, look at me, look at me. Flaws. By my words and actions, I often bring shame to my family. So maybe he carouses with other families that they don't get along with. Maybe he carouses with the the merchant or the middle class. The nouveau riche. Or maybe he's not afraid to, he's like Garth Brooks. He has friends in low places. He'll go muck it up at the local tavern. Instead of going to the, 2 gold, a goblet of wine, places like that. Right? So if he fronts a lot, or, maybe his family doesn't have a lot of power initially. They're a middle management family in the power structure, but he carries himself as if he's higher, and that can embarrass the family because he will try and rub elbows with people that should be greater than him, but he's seeing them as an equal, as a peer. If that's a cultural thing that we want to instill, Evelyn, if we're saying that Dragonborns don't normally fraternize outside of their own kind, that could very well be too. Probably a young sibling of a family. That's true, Dark Wolf. Maybe he's not in line to inherit much, right? Because there is the first son usually inherits everything, and then the second one will probably go into the military, and the third and thereafter usually will go into the clergy or something, as different ways to spread influence into those different cultural institutions. So he may very well have something like middle child syndrome, or the youngest, being the youngest. So now that we've gone over a little bit here of his personality, these can work either way. Though, would we see him in this moment as a noble or as a knight? As well, would he... it seems like maybe the position of privilege is what he'd want to maintain instead of having retainers following him around. Because if he wants, you know, the people's attention, he doesn't want to have his own staff following him, because he'd rather have people choose to follow him otherwise. I would probably argue we would go with noble and position of privilege. What are your thoughts on the matter? Do you see him as a knight? That may very well be. He is a warlock with the Pact of the Blade. He can very well be a knight. Make your case. I'm open-minded to this. I have bad news. I won't be continuing the game in which I use vicious mockery and Oh no! What happened, Clark? What occurred? And well, by the way, welcome. Even though it's somber news. Position of privilege seems better for RP. Ivalon is saying probably by default noble, unless he's that middle, unless we want to make him a middle son going into the military. He could be a knight with position of privilege. That is true. I as a DM am willing to entertain that. That I would allow a knight to take position of privilege. So, what do you think would make for a better story? Do we want to have, if you were playing this character, would you want to, you know, do you think it'd be more fun to play maybe the middle child, who is forced to go into the military, but he'll be a noble about it, and so he'll be considered a knight because of his heritage. And in this case, look, if he's a blade lock, he can use knightly weapons with his, spooky magical powers. The game just kind of fell apart. DM lost interest. Other players got bored of their characters. Oh, so you have to find a way, Clark, to get them inspired like you are, to invest in their characters with, you know, the jokes for the verbal components of Tasha's and things like that. Now, that wasn't the game that ended on a cliffhanger, right? Like, that's not your super favorite one that you're waiting to see what happens next, correct? Dark Wolf thinks knight with position of privilege. Sapsetmet Gerwitter for a name, and Bubonic has a picture of him on Le Discord. So this is what Bubonic is conceptualizing him to look like? Well, here, let's do, Oh, all right, yeah, I'm sorry, that was Zoe. I'm sorry, that was Zoe. I wanted to make sure, because I knew how important that game was, and that game was to you, and I know you're having fun with the Tasha's thing too, but I know for sure Zoe is your baby. Dark Wolf, keep drawing him. Don't worry about it. You know, you have a take on what you think he'd look like. Bubonic has a take. We could all think of him differently. So, Dark Wolf, keep drawing him and share that with us if you've already been working on it, okay? Oh, Rowmonger, I know you're not in here, but I'm jelly. Yeah, I'm jelly. Look at what Rowmonger's eating. What a joik. What a joik. Okay. So we're thinking by the process of imagination. We've thrown our bones, right, our dice into the augury dish, and now we're looking at it and we're reading our character. So we want to stick with a knight, but a knight who has position of privilege. And because of, you know, he is a knight and is supposed to be serving the military, yet he's rubbing social elbows, maybe that's making his family just a little bit uncomfortable. That will be interesting as well, because he doesn't like to get his hands dirty. However, his pact can kind of allow for that. We'll get there. His charisma's going to be... Woohoo. Speaking of which, that was his background. Let's go up to races and see what our Dragonborns get, okay? Our strength score will increase by 2. Hey, for a blade lock? Boy, what if we give him like a great weapon blade? Oh, that'd be something. So, strength goes up by 2. And our charisma goes up by 1. We already have our age alignment. Our size is fine. We are medium-sized. Our speed, our running speed is 30 feet, meaning that we can climb at 15 and swim at 15, and of course we don't have an intrinsic flying speed because we are not Aarakocra. We also do not get dark vision, so we're going to put a big old 0 there, actually making it look like an eye. You have Draconic Ancestry. Choose the type of Dragonborn, and we get a breath weapon type. Clark says, in much lighter news, I'm moving out of my apartment with my cheese-stealing roommate and into my girlfriend's apartment in the coming weeks. Oh, well, I'm sorry he was stealing your cheese, and I imagine then it was very good cheese. I get some good cheese, by the way. I go out and I will hunt for like unusual cheeses and try them. So if he's stealing your cheese, then yeah, you got to get out of there, Clark. But hey, I'm glad if things are going in that direction and you're developing, you know, you're moving along. We're with you. We're with you. Oh, you wanted 2 T's in that, Gerwitter? Oh, yeah, I saw that earlier, Plunder Loot. Tempestus? Hey, no, Sapsetmet still sounds like a really cool, this still sounds like a cool name. And that is a tried and true method, by the way. If you want to come up with fantasy names, just reverse something and see what you get. It is the principle. Like, especially if it is craft singles. You know, you could be like, dude, I would give them to you, but you just have to ask. Why are you stealing my cheese, bro? It's a cheese product. There's a very popular business self-help book, or, you know, sort of like a self-empowerment, whatever, that it has a business angle called Who Moved My Cheese? All right, we're going to get a breath weapon because we are of Draconic ancestry. And that is going to be, let's see, we are blue, a 5 by 30 foot line of lightning damage. Five x 30 feet. Dex save. $2d6 damage on a failed. Damage increases. All right, so he's close to a damage bump at 6th level. 2d6 lightning on a failed save, half for success. There we go. There's our breath weapon. Damage resistance. We have resistance to the damage type associated with your Draconic ancestry. So we'll come up here on this special sheet. This isn't the normal one for D&D. It has all the normal stuff. It's just been rearranged and optimized a little bit. IRV for immunities, resistances, and vulnerability. And we're going to fill in the middle dot here in lightning. And there's our languages. Dun, dun, dun. That's what we get for being a Dragonborn. Our classes. Let's come down all the way to Warlock. Warlock. He is 5th level, so we're going to be getting this stuff in the blue box. And we'll kind of take things one at a time. You usually build a first level character, or, I mean, thereabouts. You'll see the abilities that we'll get since we're just jumping right into 5th. Hey, I have my natural armor, right? I have my leather armor going on right here. Oh, I do kind of look more like a tiefling, right? So here's my tail. Oh no, King! Res, please. A half tiefling. Unfortunately, now the lore states that all tieflings create more tieflings only. Yeah, I mean, it's our campaign world, whatever. Now, I do that in mine. I have it that tiefling blood overwrites all other genetic blood. Okay. that picture. Thank you, King. Hey, you scored some Snyder's of Hanover pretzel pieces with hot buff. Ooh, nice, Bubonic. You're going for the good stuff. Nom 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 nom. Okay, now we get some hit dice. Those are going to determine how many hit points we get per level when we level up, and it will reflect how much we can intrinsically heal ourselves when we get the chance to rest. We get a total number of hit die equal to our level. Nice and easy. We're level 5. We get 5 hit die. Warlocks get a D8. And we've used 0. Because we're not a multi-class character, we can just zero out these other ones. But let's say we went, I don't know, a Warlock Barbarian, because we want to cheese Armor of Agathis. That was a whole other discussion that we had in this channel. But you want to cheese Armor of Agathis. And let's say you took 5 levels of Barbarian, you would have 5 D12s. And then you'd also have 5 D8s. And then you could choose which one you want to use when you're healing. Okay, armor proficiencies, light. So we can wear leather armor. We do get training in simple weapons. We get no tool proficiencies. Saving throws, wisdom and charisma. You see how there's diamonds up here? That is the saving throw based on that ability. The dots underneath it are the skills that are generally used by that ability. Let's take a look now. We have wisdom and charisma, so we fill in the diamonds. We're better at those saving throws than the others. Now we're going to get to choose 2 skills. In fact, I will open it up to you all. We get 2 of those. Based on his personality, based on how we've built him, right? He's a middle child who went into the military, but he's kind of rebelling, and he still wants to be a noble. So, I mean, he's a knight, but he rubs elbows, even if they're armored in some way. Which 2 skills would supplement his personality and how we've built him? He already has history. So we don't need to worry about that. It looks like in transferring over the letters from the PDF, not everything went according to plan, but you get what I'm saying. All right, so we're getting intimidation, says Bubonic, Arcana, and history. He already has history from being a noble, plunder loot. Clark says, with any luck, after my cat gets used to the fact that she's going to be with my girlfriend every single night for hopefully a very long time. Oh, so yes, if you've ever heard that story that cats will steal your breath while you sleep, Clark's cat is adding to that story, and seems to be trying to coerce him away from, probably as the cat sees her, some demonic succubus trying to steal your soul, Clark. Have you detected evil around her? That's important. Plunder loot's thinking Arcana and religion. Bubonic wants maybe intimidation. It's for how he gained the pact, a knowledge of arcane rituals, and knowing the gods to call upon to gain his patronage. Cats are nature's tieflings. King. I mean, it's kind of a burst effect. He'll get to detect all evil creatures within 60 feet. So, I mean, if there's only 2 people around and you get back 2 pings on your evil sonar, then you know what's going on. Now, plunder loot. If we go with that, would you want religion or would you want to go? Would you want to go nature because he's Fey Pact? Would you want to weave in Arcana and nature? My dog likes to lay his body over my face to wake me up when he needs to go outside. That's one way to do it, right? You'll wake up really quickly. I mean, Asmodeus is defo a cat. I think I need... so Dark Wolf, what happened when I copied and pasted from the PDF? Some of the letters must have picked up or read weird. I don't know. But yeah, I know Deception needs... Now, unless you want to make a creature called a Deceplion, maybe... I don't know. Maybe it's a zebra that looks like a lion or a lion that looks like a zebra until it wants to turn into one. Sometimes, look... Take the happy accidents that occur, as Bob Ross calls them, and maybe we've just invented a monster. A Deceplion. Or a Hislery. What is a Hislery? Inveslegalion. That sounds like a character name, like a PC or an NPC name. I am Inveslegalion. Sorcerer Supreme. My cat laser stands on my neck when I wake up, looks offended, and that I'm in the wrong. Religion or Arcana and nature. A Hislery, let's not bring up politics again. Oh, yeah. But only when... Oh. So, yeah, it must be a competition for your attention and your affection, Clark. You know, it's sort of like the older child who gets jealous that the new kid is, like the new baby's around. Plunder Loot, the best character name that you ever made was Sterdexcon Intwizcha. Oh, that could be it, yeah. Well, I mean, at least it's not like peeing on your stuff. Hopefully. Alright, so we have skills, and we're going to get some equipment also. We're going to start with a light crossbow and bolts, or a simple weapon. A component pouch, or an arcane focus. He'd probably want to flaunt something like a focus as part of his personality and as a conversation piece. So I think we can go arcane focus. And then we can come up... in fact, his arcane focus might actually be the trinket we generate for him. Here, I'll make a note of that. A Scholar's Pack or a Dungeoneer's Pack. Probably a Scholar's Pack. That gives him plenty of stuff to write on, to wax poetic and write letters, because that's what nobles do, even though he's a knight. Leather armor, any simple weapon, and 2 daggers. Whoop. Leather armor. So we can go like crossbow, simple, dagger, dagger. Or we can, if we want to make him strength, we can do, now he only gets simple weapons as a warlock, though what does that mean? Let's check out the equipment. Club, dagger, great club, hand axe, javelin, light hammer, mace, quarterstaff, sickle, spear, unarmed strike, crossbow, dart, short bow, or sling. You're more of a dog person? Oh, jeez. Jeez, Caden. Oh, wow. Was he black and white? Did he have the face, too, Caden? You grew up with cats. Only dog I ever had passed away when I was 7 months old. No pee, only murder. Okay. So let's see. If we're getting a blade lock here, that means he can manifest a magical weapon in the shape of a weapon with which he is proficient. If he... let's see. Maybe a mace? A mace might be interesting. Or even a hand axe. Or we could do both, even. Although it does say he doesn't like to get his hands dirty, so... I think the blade, though, in that feature... I think it has to be a... I think it has to be a melee weapon. Let me see real quick. Create a weapon in your empty hand. You choose the form. Yeah, melee weapon takes. So maybe unless he's using his magic weapon, because he's not really wielding or something, maybe we give him a light crossbow. In which case, which kind of a weapon do we want him to have? You used to have a tuxedo cat named Oreo. Sister. Oh, that's a fun name. Bubonic wants to give him a spear. Give him a whip or a glaive halberd. Well, he's not proficient in that, unfortunately, King. Unless that's the point. Is that what you're trying to get across? It's really weird, though, because if we're just chilling on the couch or whatever, my cat almost prefers my girlfriend to me most of the time. So maybe it's just very territorial over, like, look, just give me this space, and we're good. Bubonic is saying we should go spear. You had a yellow tabby named Odie. He was the best cat ever. Aw. Blade lock makes you proficient. Well, but I thought, well, yeah, but I thought it had to be based. I'll read again, but I thought it had to be based on something that you already had proficiency with. No, you're proficient while you wield it. You can use your action to create a packed weapon in your empty hand. You can choose the form that this melee weapon takes each time you create it. Yeah, you're proficient with it while you wield it. This weapon counts as magical. Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. I derped out on that. So, King, are you suggesting... Yeah, are you suggesting you want his packed blade to be a glaive, halberd, or whip? So we'll throw in a spear for Bobicus here, since he does want him to have a spear. I guess we can do that. We'll do light crossbow, and then we can stat out whatever packed blade that he's looking for. I got you, Caden. Please no. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I say Bobicus or Bubonic? We have 2/3 of the Balluminati here. Well, so that Arugula, by the way, welcome. Thank you for participating. It may not feel knightly, though, as the character's personality we're developing, he's that second son in the noble family who won't get to inherit the land, and so they sent him off to the military. Though his... I'm scrolling in the wrong item here. In his personality, though, he still wants to rub shoulders with people, or rub elbows, and wine and dine and say pleasant things. He doesn't like to get his hands dirty, so maybe something more like a distanced weapon, like a halberd or a whip. That's that sort of a thing. By his words and actions, he brings shame to his family, because maybe he's being above his station. You are a knight in service in the military, though with that wink and a nod, like, look, he's a noble son, please don't put him on the front line, as you might expect. And yet he still comes around, and he's trying to woo, even though he's a knight. because he has also taken position of privilege. He's a good knight and just whips the peasantry instead of slaughtering them wholesale. Well, he wants to earn the respect of the peasantry, King. He's the one that flogs the squires that get out of line. Well, if you want to share that in Tales from the Tabletop, Caden, you can, or you can do it here, too. So, anyway, we can leave a slot open for his Pact Blade, because he can manifest a greatsword if he wants to. That being said, we probably want to make him... Do we want to make him a strength warlock, right? I mean, charisma, obviously, #1. Do we want to give him strength? We should give him some semblance of intelligence, I'd like to think. Yes, it was plunder loot. I mean, if you want to make it nice, he could have taken the position to train soldiers instead of being a frontliner. Maybe, though he's 16. He's not exactly. I mean, anything he's doing that's knightly right now is because of the coattails that that brought him into that position. You're always welcome to share, Caden. You can do so here, or you can do so at Tales from the Tabletop in our Discord channel. Hey, no problem, Arugula. We definitely... I like going deep with the characters. These are people that we want to try and give compelling reasons. We want to breathe life into them. We want them to be more than just statistics and numbers and damage per round and that kind of a thing. So any contributions or questions you have, this is not my character. This is our character that we're building. And you could throw out suggestions. You can say, oh yeah, this or that or the other, or oh, this reminds me. You can even go on a tangent and say, oh, this reminds me of a character that I played in a campaign, or I ran as a DM and I had an NPC that happened to be something like this. Yeah, I know, Bubonic. I think we could make him kind of like a Swallock, right? We can make him charisma, strength, then we'll throw in intelligence and go from there. You know, especially if he's not trying to get his hands dirty and he's taking maybe ranged weapons. Dexterity can be important. Maybe a tertiary? I don't know. He also does have, by the way, this nice lightning breath, too, so he can stand in the back line. Well, King Von... Well, here in Aslandia, soldiers are trained from the womb. 16 is old enough to go and die for your country. So says the High Elves of Aslandia. And or the Rock Gnomes of Aslandia. Hey, Altreon, it's good to see you again. Welcome. You're drawing him buff? Yeah, well, I think we're gonna make him buff. The Unsullied didn't write explosive runes on Rock Gnomes and send them out to enemy lines. Okay, so we have some equipment that's placeholder right now anyway. I mean, the big thing we're going to want to consider is whatever he makes his Pact Blade to be. Let's continue to see what we get by being a super spoopy warlock. Light armor, simple weapons. We chose our skills. Crossbow. Yep, we have all that. Otherworldly patron. So he is going to go. He's going to have the patron of the Archfey. And we'll get into what that means in just a wee little bit. Same with Pact of the Blade. As we already hinted, he gets to manifest magic armaments of his choosing. We're going to give him an ASI. He gets nothing at 5th level from being a warlock. So, what do we have here? He will get 3 cantrips. So we're going to write that down on page 1 here. That way, it is a good reminder. 3 cantrips. 4 spells known, 2 spell slots of second, and he's going to know invocations. We're going to give him 2 invocations. Invocations are spell-like abilities, as they used to be called. They are slots in your character that you can swap out effects, or that you can have different effects active that are sort of like permanent enhancements of some kind. You know, if you play Diablo or something, it's like putting in gems or skulls or whatnot into your equipment. So he will get 2 invocations. Oh, I'm sorry, 3 at 5th level. He just dinged 3. Bink. And we won't worry about that other asterisk. Patrons, the Archfey. Your patron is a lord or lady of the Fey, a creature of legend who holds secrets that were forgotten before the mortal races were born. This being's motivations are often inscrutable and sometimes whimsical, and might involve a striving for a greater magical power or the settling of age-old grudges. Beings of this sort include the Prince of Frost, the Queen of Air and Darkness, ruler of the Gloaming Court, Titania of the Summer Court, her consort Oberon, the Green Lord, Hirsum, the Prince of Fools, and Ancient Hags. And we're going to get some extra bonus spells because we have chosen, or it has chosen us, this pact. And we're going to... yeah, I'm sorry, that's cantrips. We're going to label on our spell sheet where we got these from so that we know. And if you're DM, if you're playing, I would highly suggest this. Make sure you're indicating where you're getting these spells from, what is giving them to you. Because if you ever have a question or your DM needs to see your paper, it's right there. It's easy to consult. So from our Fey Pact, we're going to get Fairy Fire and Sleep. We will also get Calm Emotions and Phantasmal Force, which is excellent for someone who doesn't want to get his hands dirty. Our archetype is going to be reflected in our pact, or our patron. Bestows upon an ability to project a beguiling and fearsome presence as the Fey. As an action... okay, so hang on. Fey presence. Ooh, they're going to get... you can fear people or inspire people. And we're just shy of getting Misty Escape. So we don't need to worry about that. We do not have a pact with the Fiend or a Great Old One. So we don't need to worry about those. Okay, now we can look at our invocations. These are very interesting spellcasters. Warlocks are. Let's see, at 5th level, 6 spells known. And we get 2 of 3rd level. 2, 0, 0. And we can repeat cantrips 1, 2, and 3 right here. Level 1. Right? We get 2 spells known of 1st level. Then we go to 3 but of 1st, so at level 2. Level 3. Level 4. And by 5th level, we will know 5 spells, and the highest tier that we can cast is 3rd level. There we go. That's how you do the spells. We are full Warlock. We're casting off of Charisma. And we'll come back to the other things. If you have questions on any of this, please let me know. Let's see. I'm finding... Fell behind just a little bit here because I was on a roll. So, flogging was popular. I mean, if you want to make it nice, he could have taken a position to train soldiers because he's a coward. Caden was asking for story time. Arugula, okay, cool, thank you. Bubonic, what a hard class combo for stats. Okay, Aslandian soldiers. Dark Wolf is drawing him buff. The Unsullied didn't... Okay, that's the Unsullied. Yes, that's true, Caden. It was so that attraction wasn't a thing. Exploding gnomes. Bubonic's offering some stat recommendations. Those are the ability to cast Cure Light Wounds, reverse it. Board game called it. Yes, it is a card game called Exploding Kittens, Eltrion. There's also Unstable Unicorns. I have both of them, and they're a lot of fun to play. Bubonic is saying 14 con or whiz. Having characters play a game within their game, good times. I don't know how we want a low con or low whiz. I feel like whiz would be low given he's only 16. That's not a bad idea, Clark. He's more concerned with putting out his image than really, you know, maybe receiving it back. You know, than being able to insight or look around, because he's noble. Like, why in his world would he ever have had to grow up looking over his shoulder? I would agree with that, Clark. I think whiz could be his dump stat. Okay, so we're talking some stat stuff. Delcorin started watching, even though he hasn't said anything yet. If you want to use a glaive, you need strength. Yeah. Honestly, it would mean his int dump stat makes some of the decisions that hurt his family. I mean, maybe he can have a low int and still be proficient in those saves. So, you know, he won't have a high base, but he's good at those particular things. We could make an int dump stat character who's proficient with int skills. Honestly, I would just make his int the dump stat. More of a it might be more of a wisdom problem. Depends. Could be either, depending on the situation. It could, in fact, be both if you really want to play up that those traits. And Bubonic is saying that he should have 12 strength, 10 dex, 14 con. Ooh, a tough guy. Hey, Volvo, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. 13 intelligence, 8 wisdom, and the 15 in charisma. And Dark Wolf is throwing in for low wisdom. So if we're throwing what Bubonic is saying here, we would go 12 strength, 10 dex, 14 con. You really want him tough and beefy, don't you? 13, 8, and 15. What say you all? His charisma would be a starting 16. His strength would be a starting 14. Although, do you want to make it so that, look, he's level 5. Maybe he's going to want to at least rank up into medium armor. Maybe he takes a feat or something. Do we want to at least give him 2 strength so he's okay with the light crossbow or or something like that? Do we have to? No. If he's a backliner, look, he's wearing leather armor. That's fine. He's going to be dodgy, and we can give him the invocation that will give him mage armor anyway. He doesn't have to have good dex, even to hit. Oh, you know what? Bubonic, are you saying con because that is, isn't that what the breath weapon is based on? Let's go back to Dragonborn real quick. Breath weapon, 8 plus con mod. Yeah, that's the saving throw. 8 plus con mod plus proficiency bonus. So that means he'd be good with his breath weapon, or he'd be better at it. Low whiz, high con comes from being 16-year-old who thinks nothing can hurt him. Ah, some Superman syndrome. Well, hey, especially, right? He just made a pact with a very powerful magical being. I very much believe, Clark, that something like that could very well be taking place. But hey, Volvo, it is good to see you and welcome here. Play up the physicality. Okay, so he's a brash young Dragonborn that thinks little and acts brashly. Yeah, he's a brash youth. Okay, if we do this, we have a 16 Chaw. We have a 14 Stir. And now we get 1 ability score increase. Do you want to pump that into his charisma and bring him up to an 18? What would you like to do with his 2 points to 1 stat or 1 point to 2 stats? Where do you think that should go? And while you're looking that up, I believe our proficiency bonus is going to be 3 at this point. Level 5, yep. And there's our proficiency bonus. It is a horror campaign. Well, if Macabre Derek's in here, if he wants to tease it a little bit, but the theme is going to be horror, Volvo. And that means that our characters are going to also be given a madness. That is something like a deep psychological thing that will come out when they're stressed. It doesn't have to be always on like a character flaw. And as well, I've opened up the character background haunted one that we could roll into as a possibility. As well, each of the characters will be getting a gothic trinket of some kind. I'm not seeing recommendations just yet, so let's just put his 2 points into charisma and make him a little bit more... I mean, because charisma is definitely, as a noble and what he does, that is something that he very much wants to put out there. Clark is suggesting Dex, maybe? You can make your case. Hey, oh, there is Derek. Well, 3 arch for you to keep in mind. A House of Secrets, Into the Depths Below, and 1. Clark, if you do have a reason, I'm not typing this in. I'm not typing these in because I'm ignoring you. If you want to make a strong case about why he'd want to put his 2 points into Dex instead of something else, do so. We can play with the numbers. You know, this isn't set in stone. This is a form-fillable PDF. Even if I hit save, we can go back and change it. Let's do current hit points. At first level, you get your maximum hit die, which is 8. Then for all of your other levels, one way you can do it, and the way that I recommend, is going half plus 1. That means he's going to get 4 levels of 5 hit points, right? Half of 8 is 4, plus 1 is 5. It's a nice, slow, steady, and it still favors the players, but it prevents them from taking huge losses or just being... You have like a swole wizard that somehow is rolling 6s every level, and then you have a flaccid barbarian who's just rolling 1s for hit points. Then we get for all of our levels, so for 5 levels, we get a con modifier bonus. In this case, it's going to be 2. So here's our complex math for D&D. We have 10 plus 20 plus 8. So his hit point maximum is 38. Bing, ba-da-ding. Yeah, Arugula, I agree. If he thinks, or especially if he knows that he's charismatic and he's young, he's going to use this as often as possible for whatever reason. You have good insight, and at least I'm resonating with your thoughts there, Arugula. I don't want to say you have good insight and others who think differently don't. I am agreeing with why you think he's going to be using his charisma the way that he is. And thank you also for participating in our character creation process. Oh, gotcha, Delcorin. Thank you. And yeah, I got my leather armor on too, right? Just like our character does. Passive perception is... Oh, actually, we can fill all this stuff in. We did our hit points. Saving throw is 2 and 2. Nice and easy. Zeros all the way down. That's super easy. Con saving throw is 2, which for a spellcaster isn't bad, especially if he doesn't have Warcaster, and he probably shouldn't have it because he's going to be, well, somewhat of a backliner. I don't know. He is a blade lock, but if we give him halberds and stuff, he can hide behind other people and poke around them. 1, 1, and 1. Now, because he's proficient in these skills, right, the black dots are filled in, 1 plus 3, he actually has a 4 Arcana, 4 History, and 4 Nature. Then we're just going to copy and paste this -1. And, oh, lordy. Look at that. 7, 7, and still respectable 4, 4, and 4. There we go. Nice. Again, because warlocks are weird. Now that we have our stats filled in, we can set up his spell save DC is 8 plus his proficiency, so that's 11, plus his charisma, which is what he casts off of. He has a 15 DC, and to attack, it would be like a weapon, right? You have your attack modifier plus your proficiency. So he has a +7 to hit with his spells. And right now there's nothing. He doesn't use key points or sorcery points or anything. So there's nothing here that we need to worry about. And the other spell slots are blank because he doesn't have them right now. Oh, the Swell Necromancer with the shovel? Okay, hey Clark, even if you're doing Stream of Thought, you know, if for some reason you're like, oh wait, Dex might be good, throw it out there. Do you always have to have like some watertight reason? No. But sometimes throwing something out will make us all think about it and say, oh, you know what, that would be, maybe that's it. And if you could back it up, you're definitely causing wrinkles in the brain. So don't be afraid to do so. Oh, wisdom. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry about that. That's true. He is proficient in that. I got on a copy-paste binge. Whoops, not 3. 2. There we go. Thank you, Bubonic. Yeah. Civil, hey. I played a Gravedigger once. He didn't have a high strength, though. He would cast the Unseen Servant ritual to do the digging for him. A lazy Gravedigger. Plunder loot. Oh, I'm referring to a specific Gravedigger. 1 max plays. Glorious sight to behold. He's like the Undertaker in wrestling, right? Initiative, well, +0. And right now, his armor class, he's wearing leather armor, 1 above normal, with no shield bonus. Okay, we're making great progress. He is about finished. We need to slot in 3 invocations. So these are magical effects that are natural to him because of his pact with this archfey of some kind. Let's see. What would he take? I mean, as a cantrip goes, he's probably going to take Eldritch Blast. Because that's a bread and butter. I would recommend having, not all spellcasters need an attack cantrip. However, I would recommend at least 1 cantrip is an attack. So you always have some sort of a magical effect that you can do if you're cornered. So, maybe he would take Armor of Shadows. You can cast Mage Armor on yourself at will without expending a spell slot or material components. That might be something that he'd take. He can take Beguiling Influence. You gain proficiency in the Deception and Persuasion skills. If that's the case and we're being redundant on Persuasion, as a DM, there might be 2 things that can come to mind. One is you say you can move that to be proficient in another skill. Or you could treat it as expertise and allow for the proficiency to count twice. So he's super persuasive. So if we did Beguiling Influence, he would gain Deception, and we could either give him a +10 in Persuasion, or we maybe make him proficient in something else. Deception, Intimidation, Performance. Well, I mean, he'll get Deception. What else? He's a Blade Lock. Some of these are specific to the Pact. There is Devil's Sight that does allow him to see in darkness. Eldritch Spear allows his Eldritch Blast to go up to 300 feet. That's pretty darn good. Especially if he's a hands-off person. Fiendish Vigor will give him more HP. So he may not have a high AC, but he can be an HP tank of sorts. Gaze of Two Mind. He can't take Life Drinker. Cast Disguise Self. Maybe if he's a coward and he wants to look like someone else, he can cast Mask of Many Faces. Mire the Mind. You can cast Slow once using a Warlock spell slot. You can't do so again until you finish a long rest. If he wants to run away, or if someone's charging him, he can cast Slow. Misty Visions. You can cast Silent Image at will without... so that would effectively give him another cantrip, Silent Image. And you can do a lot of fun stuff with Silent Image. He gains advantage, or he gets expertise, or the third, which is another skill. Yeah, so maybe always at advantage. Yeah, that's true, Plunder Loot. You could roll it that way, too. Dark Wolf thinks that he should be super persuasive if we take that. If you need this to be larger, here, maybe this helps out a little bit. But we need to find 3 of these invocations that he can wear that are a part of him. Argos, is this roll 20? No, this is, we have a PDF, we have a form fillable PDF, we have a rule book open, and we're using OpenOffice to create characters and to discuss character creation, fundamentals, storytelling. We're addressing mechanics and answering questions. So right now we're not we're not playing on a virtual tabletop, though we're conceptualizing for a game that could be. We're making a character that has motivation and is compelling and has a personality, as well as the statistics to back it up. All right, Clark. Hey, see you later. Thanks for being a part of what we have going on here. And hey, I hope that move does go well for you. You know, keep us informed, and hopefully your cat doesn't kill you before that can happen. Do these depend on which Archfey he has his pact with? No. So ultimately, which entity you want to make as a DM, as the patron, that could flavor it, right? If it's entertaining that perhaps a very powerful hag, like a night hag or someone. If we want to take a very like a horror fey route. Although there is a lot of horror in even like fairies and pixies in the more traditional fairy folk, because they're not from this world. And yeah, they may look cute and small and have rosy cheeks, but they're curious about our world. And if they want to see what your eyes look like, they'll just say, oh, let's get rid of those eyelids. Especially if they can grow them back. They're like, what are you worried about? I'm just going to take your eyelids off. I want to see what your eyes look like. They're huge. Cats are fiendish murderers, but they own you. Remember that. Do not get on their bad side. Oh, an Unseelie Fey Court member would be quite fun. That would be very interesting. Because then, in that case, this character is a pawn in the Seelie and Unseelie kind of... It's not even a war. It's really just a very lethal game. And they take absolute delight in it, because it's a game. You know, it's often said that children make the best villains because of their innocence makes their cruelty pure, right? They don't know or conceptualize. You know, they'll hold the magnifying glass above the anthill and individually burn every ant as they're bringing food back to feed their queen, and it's pure delightful fun and wonderment and whatnot, because there's no morality to it. It's just it's a pure desire and a pure reaction. Now, he's 16. He's not like a 5-year-old kid in a backyard with a magnifying glass and ants, but you get what I'm saying. Upon that passionate act made him a small player. Yeah. And now, ultimately, a lot of this plunder loot will be under the realm of where Derek wants to go with this. But speaking broadly, if we're entertaining ideas, if we're being creative storytellers, we want to really put a personality on this character, on the chassis of the numbers and mechanics. Yes, that is... You could make a campaign just around this one character, right? We've already built parts of the world for him to exist in. That's right. Tell Cersei I did it. Arugula is contributing. I think jumping into something way bigger than he is perfectly in line. Yeah, I especially if it's a chance for him to feel important. You know, you have this Archfade, and you're like, hey, kid, you want to feel important? Make a pact with me, I'll give you power. I know that's a super abbreviated version. I think he'd jump on that Arugula. King with the zing. Thirsting Blade, 5th level Blade Pact. Oh, so we could take this. You can attack twice with your Pact weapon instead of once whenever you take the attack action. Would he be really aggressive? Do we think maybe he'd have a Thirsting Blade? What else could he take? One with Shadows. When you're in an area of dim light or darkness, you can use your action to become invisible. I don't know about that. Repelling Blast, maybe he'd take that. When you hit a creature with your Eldritch Blast, you can push a creature 10 feet away in a straight line. If he's not a hands-on person and he wants you to get away from him, maybe that's what he'd take. Maybe Armor of Shadows, Repelling Blast, and... I don't know. Misty Visions could be very interesting because you can cast Silent Image. Because look, if we have a socialite, he could be playing his own background music when he walks into the bar or into the ballroom or into the wherever, right? He has like a little flag flying above him. He's got like a trumpet over one and drums over the other shoulder because you can maintain 3 effects. So maybe his Misty Visions is he carries intro music for himself wherever he goes. Oh, jeez. This is suddenly Fargo. Let's give him Armor of Shadows. Repelling Blast. Whoop. And Misty Visions. All right. All that's left, I believe, is to slot in a couple spells for him, and then of course we can add in a pitcher. But I think Darkwolf said that she is still working on that, so we don't have to worry about that. Maybe what's interesting too is I bet each of you have some kind of different vision of what this person looks like in your own noggin. Bring this out, bookmarks. And come back down to Chapter 11, Spells. And let's see what Warlock spells there are. I'm going to be using the broad list. If you want to know what a specific spell does, let me know, and I can pop over to it. Blade Ward, Chill Touch, Eldritch Blast, Friends, Mage Hand. You'd probably take Mage Hand. I don't know, Mage Hand and Friends sounds... like, I don't know if he would use Prestidigitation, because that's like party tricks and whatnot. If he's very social. Mage Hand can carry, I think it was up to 5 pounds. If he's feeling especially mischievous, if these young noble ladies are at a ball, he can use it to check out their ankles by casting a Mage Hand and flipping the bottom of their ruffles up a couple inches. Oh, that's scandalous. If you all have another suggestion and a reason, let me know. We can change it. We haven't rolled any dice with him yet. Maybe he hates being dirty. Oh, that's true. That's true. He actually, you brought up a good point, Plunderloot. He doesn't like getting his hands dirty, and he won't be caught dead in unsuitable accommodations. So maybe we can give him... which one do you think we should... which one do you think that we should give him? And I'm seeing Blade Ward. Do you want to swap out Mage Hand and Friends for Prestidigitation and Blade Ward? We can do that. Let me know what yuns want. It can bring it over to you. Think of Mage Hand as kind of like you can use the Force and you can draw 5 pounds of something over to you. But the spell of what you might be thinking of would be more like a spiritual weapon, Dark Wolf. So let's see, at first level, oh, he's going to get some spells. Armor of Agathis, Arms of Hadar, Charm Person, Comp Language, Expeditious Retreat. I don't know, maybe you'd take that one. Hellish Rebuke, Hex, Illusory Script, Protection from Evil and Good, Unseen Servant, and Witch Bolt. Unseen Servant might be one. The protection, if it's something that's giving him protection because maybe he is more cowardly, anything like Blade Ward or a protection from evil and good might be good. Arms of Hadar could be interesting. Yeah, it can give someone... It can be like an item interaction, I believe. So it could draw a weapon, it just can't attack. It can do something along those lines. You think Dancing Sword would fit? You're thinking of a degree. Oh yeah, so it's like spiritual weapon or something. Maybe he doesn't want to use magic, and instead he thinks that he can impress everyone himself. So why give him social spells, right? Let's play into that. Let's play into that confidence. Yeah. Expeditious Retreat, I believe, would fit his personality. Cloud of Daggers, Crown of Madness, Darkness, Enthrall, Hold Person, Invisibility, Mirror Image, Misty Step, Rave Enfeeblement, Shatter, Spider Climb, Suggestion. We should probably give him some kind of an attack spell here. Hold Person, it's a status, but that could be. Right? He wants someone to stop moving. Like, I issue a command, hold, because he wants to try and project himself as noble. Or that he's some sort of, he's some kind of an authority. Hold Person and Invisibility, and we can drop in one level 2. Or I'm sorry, level 3. Counterspell, Dispel Magic, Fear, Fly, Gaseous Form, Hunger of Hadar, Hypnotic Pattern. See, the thing is, I don't think he's like the super like gross spooky warlock. He's using this because of that fey presence that he can, you know, he's carrying himself in that way. If he slotted in Minor Image, maybe he would take Major Image. He can already cause fear because of his Fey ability. Unless we give him some kind of an anti-magic. If he wants to try and be a knight and suppress things. Maybe... I don't know. I don't know. What do you all think? Hey, Bobo, welcome! I'm sorry I didn't get in touch with you, but ended up... Oh, whoa! That's so that's a thing. Did you get that during Muay Thai, Bobo? Also, I think we might have the complete Illuminati here. If Bobo's here, I believe we still have Bubonic and Bobicus. So we have our 3 Bs to make the Illuminati. I also see Caster using Mage Hand to open things. Yeah, yep, you can possibly set off traps. If a pressure plate doesn't need a lot, or a tripwire doesn't need a lot of weight or force. Plunderloot, yeah. You can make Arms of Hadar and just rebrand it to be some sort of whip and vine thing. Yeah, that's true too. Right, so like vines, fey vines or something come out. Counter spells work for Noble. They rule, and so they choose what happens and what doesn't. Control works very well in that theme. Yeah, kind of stupid sparring with a mate, and my trainer said something, and I looked and got a kick from the other side. Oh, geez. Have things stabilized? Are you seeing double? Are you hearing things that aren't around? Like, are you okay? So, King, if we do a reflavored Arms of Hadar, what would you like to replace? Oh, okay. Well, still, Bobo, welcome. We're doing some fun and spooky character creations for a horror-themed campaign this week. By the way, Fairy Fire's an awesome spell. It can be bad if it splashes back on you, but it's really good for lighting people up, very literally. Just because I was going off of my own thoughts, King, because I wasn't seeing suggestions, and I saw that you said, well, you could reflavor Arms of Hadar to be vines and whatnot, just like dark vines or something. So I'm fine replacing spells that I wrote in here. This was me just making progress while you all were talking. Like Monster Slayers or Detective-ish. I don't know, Derek. Do you want to give a hint at the flavor? Is this going to be a monster hunt? Are they going to be detectives? What? You know, don't show too much ankle. Speaking of Mage Hand. You know, maybe if he sees Expeditious Retreat as unknightly, we can just say, this is Arms of Hadar. Fey versions. Right, for vines? You're shooting ideas, but if you chose, I dump protection from good and evil, there's not wanting to get your hands dirty. All right, so I mean, we can swap this around, but with the exception of perhaps one spell, we almost have a complete character. There's one more thing that we need to do. First off, for his arcane focus, we're going to give him a fun little gothic trinket from Curse of Strahd. And what is he going to receive? D100. He's going to receive number 69. Which is a flag from a ship lost at sea. So it could be even a portion of that. So we will put an asterisk here, and we will put an asterisk here to indicate it's his trinket. Flag from a ship lost at sea. Then we get to give him a madness. Yay! Now, this is something that can be invoked perhaps in times of great stress, right? They have their character flaws all the time. That's just a part of who they are. This is something that perhaps over the course of the game, certain mechanics, they take a certain amount of damage, they see something, you know, something happens and can invoke it. We can we can invoke this kind of a madness. So because we can either give them, like, well, an indefinite madness would almost be like a supplemental flaw. Maybe a long-term madness is something that could be you just got so spooked or something, you enter into kind of into like a fugue state, F-U-G-U-E, and this occurs. Madness, is that from D&D? Never heard of it. It is a mechanic that you can use if you wish in Dungeons and Dragons. Enemies around from angles, or enemies abound from Xanathar's Guide. Everything seems very phase well. Make the target unable to determine friends and foes. I do not disagree, Civil, though with the exception of our Curse of Strahd that I have open here, I don't have a PDF of Xanathar's, at least not yet. So I want to keep things as close to core as possible. Though that is not a bad suggestion. So if any of you are interested in, I would look up Civil Hermit's recommended spell. Mr. Plunderloot wants a rubber chicken used as an arcane focus. The kind that'll go caw when you squeeze it. The flag is a good arcane focus. A+. Hey, I'm glad you like that, King. So maybe the madness is something that will trigger on something, some kind of an event. But let's roll a D100 and find out what it is. 81. The character experiences uncontrollable tremors or tics, which impose disadvantage on attack rolls, ability checks, and saving throws that involve strength or dexterity. And that could be, what would be his custom trigger for this in the course of the campaign? Maybe if he takes X damage from a melee attack, right? Because he's kind of a coward. He doesn't want to be in melee combat. He leads from the rear. He pew-pews from, from the back lines. So maybe if this happens and he's like, this is my own blood, he starts like trembling and, this is my own blood. And it starts really affecting him. Oh, come on, King. Okay, sounds like a super nice mechanic, especially for a bad guy. Get a lot of ideas. Yep. That is, Madness is in your Dungeon Master's Guide around page 260, Bobo. Yeah, there you go, Derek. That's quite the crystal ball to peer into, isn't it? What does he have in hit points? 38. So even if we said like 10%, that would be 4 if he took 4 hit points. It should be a little bit more than that if it could even be a total in the course of combat or something. There we go. Nice and cool. And creepy. But cool. Alright, I'm going to get up and I'm going to take a break. I'm going to get some water and stretch. You all do the same. We'll change up the music and we'll still go to something kind of creepy. And we'll make character number 2 and find out who is going to be adventuring with Sapsetmet.